friends. I am back with another repot and chat video. Today I am potting up some of these little variegated Ring of Fires that I have. They're quite rooted in this little pod that I started them out in. These were tissue culture that I've been growing for probably 2 months or so now. I'm not really sure. I'm really bad at that. So they are all giving me new leaves, well, almost all of them. And it's time to pot them up into little pots. See the new growth on there? Sorry, the light's down here. I had to get it out of my eyes. Can you guys see me okay? Let me change the light a little bit. Maybe, see, it puts this weird glare on my glasses and I can't see without them. Anyway, I had already started potting some up and I realized the camera was on the table and it was shaking all over the place. So I scrapped it and we're just going to pick up here. So if you are new here, welcome to the chaos. I am Talon. I am the owner of Thrive Theory Plant Shop. And I'm also here on YouTube, and I like to share plant education and just make this a little bit easier for you. And it's just real. I don't have a script ever. I probably should. This is a giant chaotic mess pretty much all the time. And I don't really know how to edit that much. So it's kind of, Anyway, if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. So let's get back to this. What I was saying before I started over is I love these baby plants. When I first started getting into this hobby, I wanted super huge plants. Like all my plants, I wanted them to be ginormous. I had moss poles everywhere. I would buy a plant and I wanted to buy like everything super huge. I wanted it to grow super huge. I wanted to, make videos like a lot of the other creators that I saw with their giant plants. And then I quickly realized that A, buying them already huge is expensive. B, I don't have space for these huge plants. And I really do enjoy watching them grow out and putting the care into them that it takes to grow, and watching them grow and knowing that I did that. I got to see the tiny leaves. I got to see, I got to choose the substrate. That, and let me say this, if you're new to this hobby, let me tell you that if you buy your plants already big, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, if you buy them large and you want, it's a little bit harder to acclimate them into your environment. If you buy them as little babies, they acclimate better into your environment as they grow up. Your ambient temperature, how much humidity do you have in your house? What temperature do you keep it? What substrate do you typically like to grow in? I have all of my plants are in a soilless soil, mostly tree fern fiber and cocoa coir, perlite, leca, pond. I put it all kind of together and make a big mix. I can make a video if anybody's interested. I also grow in passive hydroponics, so leca or pond. I have a lot of plants in that because I am a chronic overwaterer, and that just helps me not overwater my plants. Before I got into this hobby and actually took it seriously throughout my life, I killed everything. Literally every plant, I offed it. And it was because I loved it too much. I watered it entirely too much. Everything, I drowned it basically. So I had to learn how to do amendments to my soil, what kind of soil was going to be best for my style of growing. Passive hydroponics and pond or leca in self-watering pots is a huge help for me because it takes the water up as needed and I don't have to really worry too much about overwatering. And then I know how to add chunky amendments so it's faster draining, so I don't keep them wet too long because I overwater. And let me say that I see a lot of people on TikTok and YouTube or whatever, and they are like watering their plants like once every 2 weeks, once a month sometimes. Like, I don't know what planet y'all live on, but I can't do that. I have to water like twice a week. And maybe my amendments are causing that to dry out fast, but I mean, they're dry. They're dry. So I have to water twice a week. You may not. You may water once a week or every other or what have you. And that's what I mean by different. Your environment's different than mine. My humidity level stays probably around 75% humidity. I live in Florida, for one. For two, I have humidifiers. I don't think you can see the one behind me. It's on the floor. It just shut off. I use the Govee and I love it. It's a smart humidifier, so I have an app on my phone that tells me when, I need to add water to it, what have you. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping all over the place here in my conversation. See, I don't have a script. Can you tell? Can you tell? All those little, see the little new, that was one of the first leaves. It's time for that to go. Just plop that right off right there. I'm just kind of putting these down. I know some of you might be screaming, oh my God, the plug is still on there. These are not the death plugs, the fabric plugs that people think are death plugs. These are like a brownie plug. They're a grower's dream, honestly. Like, I really like to start my plants in them, whether I'm propagating or whether I'm doing a tissue culture, what have you. I've done propagations and tissue cultures without that, just in a substrate, and that's fine too. But the little plugs tend to help me a lot. I know a lot of growers feel the same way. And as you can see, the roots do not have a problem continuing on. They do not. They grow right out of it. And inevitably, this will disintegrate. From alocasia to anthurium to philodendron, what have you, it doesn't inhibit anything. Okay? My alocasia corm just as fast, just as fine without the plugs, and with the plugs, just the same. So no, I do not remove them. Honestly, I have a couple of tissue culture alocasia that I started of my own. For my shop, I like to use corm grown, right? Like, my plants are corm grown because if somebody buys it and it was a tissue culture and something happens and it dies, they don't have that corm to like fall back on. So I don't really like to sell tissue culture in my shop unless I've set it, ahead of time. But for mine, I have started them in the little plug, and then once they get a little bit bigger, I will take it into like one of these little pots and put like fluval stratum and perlite around there to kind of root it up a little more before I put it into a 4-inch pot. So by the time it hits this pot, it's in like a fluval or a contra soil. I'm a huge fan of contra soil as well, but I don't remove the plug to do that. And I've gotten a lot of comments like on my venom when I potted up my venoms, and I transferred it from this little thing right here into the cup, the self-watering cup. People asking me, oh, you're not removing that plug, you're just putting it in there? Yep. And it does perfectly fine. Literally, all of my venom are out in my Mills bow, but I bet you I have something I can show you. Let me see here. All right, I got this one here. This is a dragon scale mint. Isn't she cute? There's actually 2 in there. But I did not take the plug off and it is in a contra soil, perlite, and I don't even know what else, mixture. And you can see the root. Can you see that? See if the light is in your way. I'm trying not to drip the water everywhere. See the root? It comes along just fine. And there's the plugs are in there too. So these are in my self-watering cups. My little string, I make these myself. These are the little iridescent ones that are so super cute. I have some other kinds that I make too, but once it outgrows this, it'll just keep growing. Like, that's it. I do not remove the plugs. And then I have some that don't have it. Like, here's a red cupria. Actually, this was a chunk. I had to behead mine. So I beheaded her and put her in there. I don't even think that's a corm. Maybe it was a corm. I don't know anymore. Honestly, I don't know. All right, so back to this. What I use for my shop, when I'm potting these plants up to sell, like I am with these here, I use a organic chunky soil mix. So I have, oh, you really can't see it. I have leca in here. I have chunky perlite, like big chunky perlite. I have small perlite. I have pon. I have horticultural charcoal, worm castings. There's a whole slew of things in here, but the base of it is a potting soil. It's a premium potting soil, but nevertheless a potting soil, heavily amended. But I do that because I don't know what my customers are going to grow in. I don't know if you're a customer of mine, you may have figured that out. What I sell my plants in. I don't know what you're going to grow in, right? Not everybody is a pro. I'm not a pro. Don't mistake that. But not everybody uses semi-hydro or soilless soil or whatever. A lot of people just grow in plain old like Miracle Grow or Fox Farm or whatever, just regular soil. And maybe, oh, the dog's in here.
Puddle's out.
You guys want to see my dog? Look at her. This is Puddles. Puddles, the bad poodle puppy. Okay, you gotta go, Puds. Ow. My daughter just brought my grandson in. My little baby grandson. He's over there in his seat. I can see him, yeah. He's watching me. I love you too. So, as I was saying, a lot of my customers just grow in regular old soil. And so I don't want to complicate things for you or my customer, whoever that may be, if you're not my customer. I don't want to overcomplicate things. I just want to make it easy. I want you to be able to get a plant. I want you to be able to bring it home and throw some water in it and call it a day, right? You shouldn't have to worry about, oh, if I repot it, what am I going to do or whatever. If you don't know, if you're not somebody who knows that stuff, you might just not know that stuff. You might just want to grow plants. So I do have a soilless soil that I sell, which is what I grow my personal plants in. And I do have that available. There are a couple plants that I have that I grow in pon, but for the most part, it's regular organic based. All right, so that was it for the variegated Ring of Fires. I'm just going to water them in with my rooting solution, which is a Clonex clone solution and Growth Technologies root zone. So that's what I use for my rooting. And when I'm starting things from tissue culture, I use a distilled water. These guys, though, are good. These are philodendron, and they are happy, and they have been outside of tissue culture for some time now. I just, in ambient conditions, but I will keep them in these little pots, and I will hold off on listing them until I know that they are good now that I've put them into soil, and not just the plug. I'll make sure that they're good and happy before I list them in the shop. And there you have it. So next I have some anthurium that I have to pot up. Same thing. So I'm gonna end this video right now, and I will do the anthurium maybe in the next one. If you guys have any questions about anything I did or anything I said, or just growing questions in general, please leave a comment below. If you liked my video and you're new here, hit the subscribe button so you can watch more. I'm trying to post more often. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking to myself. Maybe nobody's watching. Who knows? Maybe this is just going to be like a videos I can look back on in my plant journey and nobody else is watching. I don't know. Anyway, if you are still here, thank you so much for coming back to another one of my chaotic videos. If you're not new here and you keep coming back, you are a rock star. Thank you so much. And until next time, you guys, I'll see you later. Bye.